What's up, everybody? Hoang Zero here, and today we have for you the Hoang Zero mod chats versus the Unkers exhibition show match. So, for those of you that may not have heard about this beforehand or are kind of just out of the loop in terms of like what's happening with the Hoang Zero content, we had a show match with some players from Southeast Asia. Really great players, players that consistently perform very well at events, go to Worlds, etc. We had them draft 5 different decks from BT21 against us, and we held a match to see who came out on top. It was a for fun event, but as you can see on the screen, our team, we drafted Galactimon, Magidramon, Dorugoramon, Gaiomon, and Mastemon. Whereas on the Unker side, they drafted Adventure, Appley, Red Hybrid, Shine Greymon, and Hunters. So if you're wondering kind of like how decks were determined, if the deck received support in 21, including those new promos, it was fair game, and we tried to make it so like it wasn't just like, oh well, this new card I run like one of it in an old deck, and now the old deck is like qualified. No, we didn't decide to do that. We wanted to make sure that they were decks from actually BT21 to try and showcase off some of these new and cool cards. So we'll be hopping into the matches right after this. We have 2 commentators. We have both Llama and Weenie as commentary for the video matches. So I hope you guys enjoy. And please, again, thank you so much to the Unkers for doing this with us. We really do appreciate it. It was absolutely a blast. And I look forward to doing this more in the future. So enjoy the videos.
All right, what's up, everyone? Getting into our first matchup here of the exhibition matches, we've actually got Mastemon up against Red Hybrid. Here we're watching from the Mastemon's perspective. Unfortunately, I got to see one side, but we get to see Hayes piloting Maste with the new promo that just came out with the set release.
Yeah, this is a really interesting turn on
Uh,
Maste. Normally they are on a lower rookie count, but here they opened up the Salamon and TK, which is a fantastic opener with we'll see if they even play the TK. They opt not to. I was thinking that if you play the TK early, you can maybe get into like a Gato Evo, but maybe they want to try to play the slow game, play the TK the next turn, and be able to slam Gato for 5. Or maybe they're just not confident
yeah,
in
I
picking it
think.
up.
Yeah, I think also like if he goes for the TK first and then plays boost, he might not have like a follow-up play after that. So going for boost to pass turn and then TK to pass turn again uh, makes the memory work out like a little bit better for him. And then if he does find the Gato after both of those searches, then he can like promote, Evo, boost, and then set up a DNA play from there. But I will see here, he's thinking about promoting, not really much to do with promoting, but I will see, I think he might just stay in the back. Yeah, just stay in the back and play TK, just playing it slow, just finding all the pieces. He's just missing the Gato here because he's got everything else. Oh, and there's the Gato right there in security. I believe the blank card is also another ST Gato.
It could be anything that's a
Sometimes.
duplicate of what we've already seen, but he is respecting the potential to, or respecting the burning grave potential here. Didn't want to pull out the Salamon and risk it because that rookie is extremely valuable.
Yeah, we're seeing on the red hybrid side promoting Uko and actually slammed the new Takuya, which is a very good addition for the red hybrid deck, giving you cheap Evos if you have different named tamers on the board. And so the inheritable, when you check the security, you just play another tamer. So lets you be aggressive, while also setting up multiple tamers, which is really nice. I see 3 tamers off the Uko reveal, so and grabs the Mem tamer. So we're just gonna see what he's thinking about here if he wants to evolve the Takuya.
Yeah, each Takuya kind of
What
chews
is
me
it?
out of memory because you reduced by 1. Interesting enough, evoing to the Kazemon, which could have been an issue if they pulled out because it would have suspended the Salamon and potentially swing over it.
But I always see the Kaze interesting list from for the red hybrid player here, not playing the traditional just all aggro red hybrid. Seems like it might be playing around the Emperor Gray top end with all the multiple colors and stuff. So see what the guy here swing the Uko, get the free play the Tamer, and we'll see if he decides to swing with the Kazemon 2. Just to think about if he's scared of maybe checking a Mirei, because that could really accelerate the Mastemon's board state if he were to check. I mean, either of the Mireis, but specifically the BT11 one
But
that plays the level 5 for free. Oh, but he's going in anyway.
he can get a lot of value off the Takuya inheritance. on swing, if you check something that's not option, you're guaranteed a tamer, assuming he has it, of course.
Yeah, that's the Koji I think he played after the Ukumon swing because it's on any check,
Oh yeah, that's
not
true.
just itself. So he swings, Evo's in a burning gray, nothing to pop, maybe just wanted the extra cycle since it's a free Evo, thanks to the Kaze when attacking. I guess he gets the inherit too if this burning gray is removed. He floats into the tamer, then just plays a flame on to pass. You see Kumamon and Peng and or not Penguin, Diapinmon here. Interesting cards to see what he decides to pick up here, but pretty solid board state for both players right now. Both have their mem setters up, and Red Hybrid essentially having four representing four bodies right now, with the three, two on board, one in raising and the tamer. Decides to pick up the Dipin, which is definitely an interesting card that you don't see very often. We'll see if it comes into play here. Passing over to Maste, and we see the Mirai top deck. So in theory, he could, yeah, Hayes can promote here and just make a full DNA play with the Gato end of turn. We'll see if he decides to go for it.
Yeah, Red
But
Hybrid putting him
I
in a
don't know.
position where he has to pull out because he is representing four swings potentially on board.
Yeah, so he
Um,
has to come up with some answer. Can't just sit back. We'll see. Yep, goes for the delay. So it looks like he's going for the DNA play. We'll see.
yeah, opting to try. That's interesting.
Yeah, see which level finds he decides to go into because he could go Evil Lady Devi, slam the Magnet and she recover an extra one, but he decides to go for the Angelomon, which gives him an extra search and also gives him blockers as well, which is very strong. We see another mirror. That's the mirror that's already in security.
Also gives him the
So that
memory
picks
off
up the
of
other
the
promo
Lady
stay.
W play.
Yep. And also the minus 2K off the Sala. So he gets a little bit of extra removal too, which is definitely appreciated. So see here, opting to slam the Lady Devi, it looks like. Yep. No on play because there's no Mirai and Trash. Um, but yeah, gets an extra draw off the egg and a memory off of the Andromon, making it slightly cheaper. You'll see the end of turn DNA into the Promo Maste, which this Promo Maste card is insanely good for the deck. Essentially the same as a starter Maste, but instead of just having the once per stack body, every turn that the Mastemon is up, it generates another body, so it makes follow-up DNA plays very easy.
Yeah, essentially a Chaos
See,
Degrade on legs plus recursion of your bodies. Synergizes pretty well with the Alliance.
yeah, very, very strong. We see trashing the Valder arm, which I'm sure he's would have liked to have for this matchup, being able to tap down Tamers. But yeah, we'll see what he decides to go for here. Plays out the Angelomon, which will actually let him free play the Mirai to set up future DNA plays. And then we'll see. Has he done the removal yet? Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, now we're doing the removal. What is he gonna put into security? Yeah, puts the tamer into security, which makes sense.
Yeah, this Mastermind notably is able to actually tuck Tamers in, whereas the old one would rely heavily on like the Lucamon for Tamer interaction, the BT7 Lucamon.
Yeah, so now before it was a very like tough consideration if you wanted to play, more tamer removal in your deck by putting in the Lucamon, but now you have kind of everything in one card, which is just really, really strong. We'll see what Red Hybrid is able to do here. Losing the tamer is a pretty big deal, but at the very least, they still do have the Takuya inherit to get an extra tamer, and we see the Evo Kaze tapping down the Maste. This card is actually surprisingly good against this board of blockers. Tapping down, and we get to see a check, and they want attacking Evo again. And this guy actually has piercing, so even if Mustang were to block here, this check would still go through if he evolves into something bigger than 6K, which we see the Diamond one coming out, which is actually a very interesting card. When Digivolving, yep, deletes something that has no sources, and also has Ice Clad, but runs right into the Ordean. which means we're going to see the Taipan dying, but not before doing all the when security is removed from effects. So we see another Tamer come out, see another minus 2k, an extra draw. We'll see another mem setter even after Masti removed the other one last turn. See what else Red Hybrid is cooking up here. But it's not looking like too much so far.
Oh,
And
we're
checks into the
hitting.
other Mirai. Yeah, that's an extra memory. That's 5 memory, which means now potentially he could like slam the Gato for an extra body. And I will see what Maste does here, but a lot of potential lines here with the Search of Maste in hand
Interesting.
and
Tactical retreat. We don't. That's not a card we
oh,
actually see a lot in the Mastermon deck.
oh yeah, I forgot he was playing this. Yeah, this is a really cool card. The idea with the tactical retreat is one, sometimes if you're bored, if your opponent, decides to play around like the Mirai and tries to leave your board empty, or sorry, leave one body on board so the board isn't empty so the Mirai can't proc. You can use a tactical retreat to empty up your board and then, like slam Gato with the secret Mirai evolve from trash, and then with the BT11 Mirai play a thing, and you just get the DNA set up from there. But also with the new Maste Burning Security, the tactical retreat extra, like the healing from the tactical retreat, can actually get you an extra body as well, which is very, very solid. We'll see what he's planning here. Decides to, yeah, just swing into the Burning Ray makes sense. Doesn't want to risk hitting another Tamer in security. And he also gets obviously the free body off of this, which can convert into another Maste because of the ST Gato that is currently in hand. So pretty good board state here for Maste right now. Let's see what he decides to play. He chooses to play from hand or trash, but looks like he chose from hand. So we'll see what he decides to go for.
Yeah, the ST Gato makes a lot of sense. He is not really missing any pieces right now, but cheating out essentially 2 extra free memory with the reduced Evo here.
This is the Bushi Agu, which is another cool inclusion in the deck. Since you can now free play it off the Maste, it's just an extra swing that you can cheat out, which is really nice because this deck is somewhat slow at getting to lethal. So having a card that just gets you uh, that extra swing can always come up, which is very nice. So you're evolving to Lady Devi for 1, thanks to Stigato. Is he gonna decide to trash something and pick something up? Yeah, trash the Bushiagu because we don't need that card in trash or in hand since we can recur from the trash. We could pick up his pieces, go for that Maste Ace, which is a nice defensive play to try and shut down whatever Red Hydra might be doing on the follow-up turn.
I wonder if he's gonna slam the Angelmon here or opt for like a slightly different play because he does have blocker
Yeah,
still. So he
yeah, he could also slam the Magnet Angel if he wants to heal 1. He could also go like slam Gato into Evo Angel 1, but nope, decides to go just for the Gato slam, or sorry, the Angel 1 slam here. Gets the extra draw off the egg. And then we've got
just
yeah,
confirming
gotta
another
pick the
wasted
right
Gato,
Gato.
even though he
Yeah,
could
gotta make sure
even
he picks
activate
the
the
right
other one.
Gato.
But
Yeah, we see another end of turn DNA here. Yep, he one gets to put away a Tamer. Gets rid of the memory Tamer again. So yeah, just chipping away at Red Hybrid's resources. That's
and
2
he
of
can't
their
play the
Tokojis
Magna.
gone.
Trash top play Magna. You're sitting on double blocker versus 2 swings.
Yeah, and an extra security too. He'd be at 1 security. So yeah, he essentially needs 4 swings next turn, which with just the 2 Takuyas, which only give you reduced cost of 1 since they have the same name, makes it pretty unlikely for Red Hybrid to actually be able to break through on this next turn here. So you just checking all the resources, making sure he's not missing anything,
And setting himself up
and
for a
decides to.
potential lethal for next turn as well.
Yeah, with the alliance on this stack, could definitely go for a lethal line on this next turn. See, yeah, think about what to play. Because if he plays the Magna Angie and then he doesn't have the Mastermon Ace threat, because if he plays an Angelmon or a Lady Devi instead, he can threaten it. But yeah, just as go for the heal, probably the safer play. So yeah, now very strong defensive board. And Red Hybrid really doesn't have a lot to work with here. Let's see, 8 cards in hand. Let's see if they decide to start of main with Takuya, but not with any double blocker set up. It's very hard to trigger that inheritable, especially since he's already down 2 Kazemon, unless he plays a third or more.
Yeah,
Uh,
Red Hybrid struggling
might
a
might not
lot,
be able to get through.
not being able to go into his Emperor like its core game plan in this type of build seems absolutely miserable. Staring down two swings that can actually potentially play out a body, depending on how next turn goes. Even though he only has one security.
Yeah, and yeah, him getting constantly getting those Takojis removed is really hindering him because the Takoji is really good because it's a mem tamer, but also because of the Koji name with the new Takuya counts as a different name tamer. So essentially, it's costing him the extra memory from being a memory tamer, but also memory from the Takuyas to be able to spam a bunch of free evos. But we see the new Aguni coming out. I think it's a pretty good card for the deck as well. You know, on Evo, you get to tuck a source from trash under itself under one of your tamers, and then when attacking, reduce cost or Evo for reduced cost of one, which is nice. Jay tucks the Kaze, so he gets the float inherit. But also, just one memory. I don't really know what Red Hybrid could do from this spot here to try and, I mean, not even win the game, but at least try and, set up to not die on the next turn from
He could try to
whatever Hayes might be planning.
he could try to like Aldemon, like the old BT7 Aldemon, evolve for one, set up maybe a blocker. Um,
Yeah, it could go into the new promo Emperor Gray, which is a blocker and delete something, or the old Emperor Gray, which would just like tap down the whole board.
Opting to swing here is interesting. I wonder what he's trying to call out. Because even if you go into like a Daipinmon, it trades with Ice Clad. Because you're not checking for DP.
And we see the Jet Sophie, but it evils for two, so it's a passing turn. It does have the suspending, so yeah, if he were to block, he would lose here. But passing turn here is really unfortunate. Although I guess the stun from the Jet Sophie could be pretty big and at least giving him an extra turn. Um, we'll see what Master Apps to do here. I feel like you could just let this go through, um, and then just because you have another Maste in hand, so you could just go for another DNA. Although I guess maybe not because he'd be at zero security. So let's see what he decides to do here. But yeah, with the stun, I actually think Red Hybrid might be able to survive a turn here. Goes, oh, checks a tactical retreat. That's actually probably one of the best checks he could have had because he doesn't need a block, but also he keeps the same level of security.
Yeah, so you can
So
play
now
another
he
body.
can, yeah. So now he can play another body, and then this, uh, yeah, this is looking pretty rough for Red Hybrid here.
I'm wondering what his line is next turn as the Master, because you're guaranteed 5 memory. You could Evo Gato to go to 3, and then Evo your Lady Devi. Do you even swing out the level 5s? Or are you going to try to like make a lethal push here? Or you're just going to try
I
to wall up a
think,
little bit? Like wait one more
oh,
turn, because like it's not necessary to
that
injure
draw
anything.
of the SD Gato is really good. Because now I guess either way he was getting a DNA, but now it's slightly cheaper,
Essentially bought him a memory.
which is nice. Yeah, but I will see. I'd be interested if he goes for a lethal push here. I mean, he probably could do it, but I don't know with the Maste that has Alliance being tapped down, might be a little hard to get all the damage you need.
He does have Ordean and Trash. He could go for some DNA Ordean shenanigans, since it does lose the can't unsuspend since it is considered a new Digimon.
Yeah, he could go what Gato, Lady Devi pick up the Ordean. You probably wouldn't want to risk the swings on level fives here. Oh, but he goes for it anyway, and he's rewarded. Does check a tamer. I guess we do know the last two security checks are two tamers, so maybe he could have wait. We know that you guarantee live those checks. But yeah, we see the Magna Angie live here, so I think this might actually just lead into a push for lethal.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary to swing those because some of the beast forms of the new hybrids are actually 7k. So like the chances of dying
Yeah,
weren't the lowest compared to playing against a normal red hybrid build. But we also did see like the Dipe and the Jet Sophie. We haven't seen an Emperor Gray yet. It can be a little bit intimidating to
yes.
swing into security and hope it lives. But they
We'll
are
see
also on a lot
here.
of tamers and rookies that
Playing out the Andromon. Lots of draws here. Also, interestingly enough, with the new promo Maste, is you can actually um, choose to put one of your own bodies into security. So instead of healing your opponent one, you can just, go into the promo Maste, heal one of your own bodies, maybe like this extra Mirai, and then trash an extra security for the extra damage. But I think we're going to be seeing the push for lethal here with the new Angel One coming out. That gives Alliance.
he can
Go see
heal his own Magna Angie. But I'm not even sure if he needs the alliance because he can just spawn out the Bushiagu from trash that he trashed way earlier.
Yeah, and we see the Ordean. So yeah, I think he's going for the Ordean lethal line here. Yeah, we see the DNA Digivolution. But yeah, I agree. I don't think the Alliance Andromon was necessary. Um, because I think he would have gone there anyway. Or like with the Bushiagu, he doesn't necessarily need Alliance. But yeah, we'll see what he decides to heal. Yeah, decides to heal his own Mirai. Because yeah, I mean, you really only need the one, and going for lethal anyway doesn't particularly matter. We see double Pata going back to three. So, Mase just has all the memory to work with here. Yeah, burns one. See what he decides to play. I guess you would rather go for Alliance instead of Bushiagu to keep the Maste alive, but I don't know that that really matters because you already have three Mastes on board, so you're guaranteed the Ordean play.
Yeah, I'm not really sure which one's correct to go for if you're trying to go for two separate swings or one alliance swing. Typically in this matchup, it doesn't really matter. I'd be a little bit scared to Susanoo Ace. Um, but I guess you are gigantic as the with the Gato that he just played out, a 17k.
Yeah, 17, which is bigger than the Susanoo Ace, so you're guaranteed to live both checks.
Debating if he wants to even go higher in DP or if it's even necessary here.
Yeah, I mean, it might just be, maybe there's something. Well, actually, we already know what the last two checks are. It's
Oh
the
yeah, he
two
just becomes the
Tokojis. So, but I guess if he didn't know that, this sets up the like emergency Maste Ace uh backup plan. But yeah, we see obviously the two Tokojis he tucked under there, and then we have the Ordean DNA. Obviously, DNA is a new Digimon, so it essentially unsuspends and has an extra swing.
10 sources under the Sardine. It
Yeah, 10 sources.
looks like Massey is gonna take the game. It's really interesting. Normally you don't really see triple Maste on board at the same time versus most decks. It looks like the red hybrid was like struggling a little bit to get online, but the Maste player played
Yeah, I
really
couldn't
well.
really interact with the board. And the new promo master really thrives on not being able to interact with the board because you are able to just keep spawning bodies. But yeah, I see Master pretty dominantly takes that game versus Red Hybrid, which means that the North American side is up 1-0 in the exhibition match. But we still got four more games left, so we'll see how it goes from there.
So getting into our second
Right.
match here, it looks like a Agumon style deck, but we did see from the thumbnail that it is a Guilemon deck, and there we see the EX4 Guilemon coming in. Looks like the Atmon player is going first here.
Fan favorite deck Atmon. But from the list that we saw, this list is actually very different from what most might be expecting. We see opening with the Garnet Boost. This is a pretty somewhat common card in Apply, depending on which rookies you play. It searches most of the pieces that you want, so it is pretty good.
A little bit of an awkward
Such as
hand here
Garnet.
from the Guilemon player, though, because he can't Evo that Grey X on top of this Agumon here.
Yeah, I was thinking he might opt for the going for the dual color Agu and raising, but looks like he values the search a lot more, which could hit yeah the regular Greymon there and the tie. So pretty good search here. We'll see he goes for the cool boy. Hits another Gray X.
Struggling on the level
Yeah, here we
fives a little
see
bit.
yeah for sure. Is he kind of the aptly promoting here? Promoting pretty early. Yeah,
Probably has a Haru in
to link
hand.
the scope. Yeah, it also links the scope, which pops the Agu, which is pretty strong here. We'll see. Do they have the Haru? They actually do, yeah. So pretty solid opening hand from the Gaia player here, or Apply player.
This is a really scary opener if I'm playing the Gaiomon deck here because I'm missing a level 5, not very confident on keeping the turn. Going even trying to get into like level 6. Like you can't really swing out if you don't have like the X antibody. But even if you have the X antibody, it's going to be hard to pop them. They're going to get gigantic even as a level 4.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. Oh, goes for the swing. Checks the cool boy. It's actually a very strong whiff on the cool boy, but I mean this is an extra draw, an extra memory. No level fives there, which means we're getting closer. And we see Ablink revealing superior mode, which is definitely an interesting card, one that you don't really see too often in Ablink decks. Decides to yeah take the Navi, trashing the Gaia and the superior mode. We see a level five,
He could
and we
potentially
decide to
get there.
promote here, gain one for the Agu. Yeah, with the oh, and we see the other level five, so we're just drawing all the pieces here, and with the cool boy memory,
He can't keep turn on
uh,
the Metal X, but he can just go Metal. I wonder if he opts
he
for
could just go
Gaia
metal. Yeah, he could just go straight into Gaia,
or Gaio.
because he has the
Sorry.
Gaia and the or sorry, Gaia, yeah, Gaia and the promo. Like he has both of them in hand, so he could do that. He could also just maybe swing over and then pass with like tie or something or boost, and just kind of wait for a bit because I don't think there's much that the Apply player here could do. But goes for the Gaia, burns a fire rocket,
Interesting.
which is another yeah very interesting card in there. So you go into the Gaio, which taunts, and we're gonna see the attack here. Checking security at 13K. Yeah, it doesn't swing because yeah, he could check another Gaia, which would be really bad here. So decides to wait it out and just taunt the Gotch. And we actually get two memory back from the inherits. So even with memory tamer, the Apply player starting the turn with just two memory and burns another app link. One of the cool things about this Gaiamon deck is that a lot of your damage comes from just burning. So security checks a lot of the time don't really matter as much because you have so much security burn that you're not really scared of what they might have in security.
Yeah, that last turn where he opted not to swing is kind of showing a little bit of the weakness and the strength of the deck, where it's like you can't really push damage as hard, but you push damage in other ways, and you can kind of steal their turn with the memory game potentially if he didn't have a mem tamer. And if
Yeah.
maybe he passed over like a little bit less, but it does prevent
Oh, you
you from
see,
swinging into security and potentially hitting that gigantic Gaiamon.
yeah, I'm sure that's what he was scared of here. We see uh the Apply player stalling with the Watchmon slam, making it so the Gaio can't yeah, getting this Gaio gonna keep confusing me, but make sure Gaio can't swing into security. Just to prevent a little bit of damage while Apply continues to set up here. Is the Agumon raising? Now, I mean, the hand is looking pretty good. I guess we're missing sixes, but I mean, triple cool boy and either tie or boost means we're gonna have a lot of memory and cards to work with on these upcoming turns.
Yeah,
And yeah, just all these tamer setup is just insane value for the deck.
he's gonna dig a little bit with the draw from not only the cool boys but from the Agu X, and plus climbing up the line with going 3 and 3x, 4x. You just see so many cards. You can probably reliably see the other Gaiomon or
Yeah,
Gaiomon.
especially hitting one of them off the cool boy means we're only missing one piece to make a second Gaio here. But we see Apply promotes three memory and a boost and two rookies is not a lot to work with here. But I mean, Appley is a very toolboxy deck, so we'll see what Robin has here to make a play work. We gotta see. Fire Rocket and Trash is a very interesting one in superior mode, but we'll see. Goes for the okay, linking the Navi, so it might be perhaps using the Dogatch that we saw him pick up earlier. Goes for the draw off the Haru. Do we have another Haru to play off of the for the Gotch one here, or are we going straight into Dogatch? Oh, I actually do have another Haru. Okay, this guy's got tamers for days in hand.
Interesting enough, both players dug pretty deep into their deck so far. Hoang coached me at 23, while Atmon at 26. Atmon not really known for drawing a ton of cards, but because they saw
Yeah,
that
not until
early
they
Haru.
get that promo Tweetmon. But yeah, the app links and the boosts are helping them dig quite a lot. We'll see. He could go like what Dogatch or Link Time into app using a globe. He actually could end on Gaia here, if he has the Karis and the globe. But one of the very interesting things about this list is the level 5 lineup. Actually, there's no Karis. It's 4 globe and 4 of the superior mode. Which will see if superior mode comes out here. Might end up being bigger. Actually, no, I think it would trade with the Gaio. But one of the interesting things about the superior mode is if you raid into the Gaio, that triggers all the effects that are when it would be redirected. But we see here, yep, just hard evo into the globe, missing the time on, which is quite unfortunate.
Yeah, if he was
But we'll
actually on the
see.
Karis, it'd be a pretty interesting scenario because that Gaiamon would be pretty hard to clear for this Gaio deck um, with a Karismon, but because he's not running it, if he somehow gets into like another level 6 or leaves a 6 on board, he can actually just OmniX and bot deck it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the guy I guess would have so much DP. Yeah, it would just be really hard for Gaio to get there. It's actually pretty small in terms of DP gain. It's really just like the egg and however many of the 3 cost ties you have on board, which right now we just see the one. But yeah, Globe hitting 13K, just barely missing the deletion on the Gaiomon. We'll see what Ramen goes for here, and he's going for the Medieval Slam.
That's interesting. We don't. That's not also not a card that we see a lot in the Atmon deck.
Yeah, going for the Slam here instead of the Evo because, yeah, I guess if he evolved into it, he wouldn't have enough memory or enough, yeah, suspended bodies to actually delete the Gaio, but this is exactly enough to delete the 14K Gaio. And then we can just Alliance or Vortex Alliance into the Gaio to remove it. Um, just completely resetting, Stack's board, but I mean, still 7 memory with all these tamers. Stack kind of has infinite resources to work with here. So we'll see what happens. Draw the promo Gaio, which is pretty significant. Now we have another free Gaio combo, and we've got
He does almost have full combo
yep,
here.
yeah, and we have the triple cool boy going up to 10 memory. See the new starter Greymon, which has taunt on a level 4, which is quite good for the deck. And we see the Metal Gray grab, so we have just another full line up into the Metal Gray. Which is pretty big here, and we see Hades Force as well. Could be used to remove um these Harus if you really want to. Now
Oh,
plays the Agu, but yeah, completely forgetting about the medieval effect, it seems like. Because yeah, now medieval can just pop or tap and pop the Greymon.
now this looks like a really rough spot to be in. You just expended all of your tamers, all your
Yeah,
sources of
now I mean
damage.
he still has 6 memory to work with here, which is pretty good. But yeah, burning all those, using all your tamers and then spending 3 memory to slam a rookie instead of climbing up is definitely not where you want to be. But at least he can recover here from the spot because he does just have full line. I believe he has the Gray X somewhere in there. So many cards in hand, it's hard to tell. Yep, the Gray X. Oh, and then immediately draws into the limited Greymon X. which I'm sure he would have liked to have here.
I wonder if he's gonna
So
opt
you
to
just think about his.
do, or he can't even scramble into this Metal Greymon because that Gray X is actually a red Digimon, and both targets have to be
Yep.
black for the black scramble.
But we do have Protoform into the Metal X for one, or for free, and then you could scramble the Metal X into the Promo Gaio to preserve some memory. But opting to maybe not go for the Gaio or not go for the Metal X. We'll see. I feel like getting the Protoform under makes sense since you have the Agu X inherit. Yeah, makes sense. Just go into yeah, Metal X for one, lets him delete the Watchmon, and then he should actually be able to outdoes board state, I believe, with the oh, I guess maybe he can out two bodies. Goes for a second protoform, but doesn't work, so it just gets discarded because you had a protoform under. So just see the scramble into the Gaio here, which trashes another security, and then you can go into the promo Gaio again. Unfortunately, can't swing because he did just slam the rookie this turn. But he can taunt, one of the two bodies and block and steal some memory back, which is pretty strong.
It's honestly a really hard turn because that Globemon, even though you're gonna trade with it, if it goes into the Gaiamon, it can just relink the globe and try to pop you multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah, the globe or the app level 5 is getting so big with the links is definitely annoying. I think about which one to taunt here. Both are pretty scary. But yeah, opts to taunt the globe, which is interesting because I don't think he has any. He doesn't have the eggs. I don't think he has any DP boost on here, so he might just trade with the globe, although he does get to steal two memory back. Um, yeah, opts to go for that. Yeah, I guess to steal two memory and trash the last security here.
I wonder how Robin chooses to play this because he can't even activate this scramble under medieval. If he does, it just gets thrown away basically.
It just immediately gets deleted. We'll see Protoform here, grabs back the Promo Gaio, and he heals a Protoform. So he's at 5 security. So he's still pretty healthy. But yeah, the Medieval denying the scramble means that, it's very unlikely for Gaio to be able to reestablish on board immediately. So this Medieval might be enough to buy time for Gaia or for Aptly to set up lethal
He
on the
does,
following turn if they have all the pieces.
he doesn't even need to set up lethal, right? It's really difficult for them to recover. He only has 8 cards left in deck.
Yeah, that too. And we see the promo Delta coming out here. Another very interesting card um, that we've seen some people talking about, which is very interesting in the Gaia deck because it essentially makes it so you're less reliant on the the app fuse mechanic because you can just evo into this Delta and then evo into your level fives for 2 cost, which is very good. But we'll see what we opt to do here. I got the Gaio player just kind of thinking through the lines. Um, It does have a pretty clean way of passing three memory, but I'm interested to see uh what exactly the app player is able to do next turn. Yeah, Evo's into the Greymon and then sets up another tie. And we just got infinite memory off of all these tamers here. But only 4 cards left in deck, which is a little bit scary. We see the Delta promote here. See what the Adley player might be able to set up here with this promo Delta in play.
We might
See
see
the
a little bit
Globe
of
Evo.
more of a defensive play from this Apley player.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at 0 security, definitely need to set up. I'd be surprised if they could kill from here. So I think, yeah, they might just be trying to set up some kind of defensive play, maybe with the Gaiamon that gets blocker. So it's not too easy to just get through or just swing once at 0 security for game. We see the Gossip adding back the Gaia. So it looks like we will be going into Gaiamon here over this over this globe and ending on a blocker, which just one blocker isn't a super big deal. But we'll see, what what Sack is able to do here.
I wonder if he's Zach is able to potentially end the game here. We know that the Gaia Mon or the Applemon player is not actually playing any protection. He could potentially climb up into. Oh, it looks like. Well, I wonder what he's going for here.
Fire Rocket here.
He could potentially try to climb up into a
Oh
Gaiomon.
wait, actually, he might have lethal here. Now I'm thinking about it with the Fire Rocket. This is three checks, and then you go medieval swing, and you go Evo Gaia, Link Dogach from hand, Gaia effect unsuspend burn one, and then Dogach effect to swing for lethal. I completely forgot about the Fire Rocket. Actually, yeah, we see the Gaimon Evo here. Um, what is he gonna link? Is it the Dogach? That's what we're looking for. Yeah, it is a Dogach. So I believe, yeah, you can just activate his effect to unsuspend and burn one, and then yeah, when linking, swing for game.
Even with the Agumon
Yeah,
misplay, this was still a really close game. On the following turn, the Gaiomon player had the strong potential to like try to climb into the 13 cost Gaiomon, Hades Force away the blocker, and just swing for lethal there too. So really coming down to the wire with that one.
yeah. I think if the Gaimon player didn't kill there, then he would have the Gaiomon player would have been able to just end the game on that following turn. So yeah, even with that misplay, like you said, very, very close match. Which now brings us up to 2-0.
No,
Or no,
one
1-1,
one.
sorry. Yeah, 1-1. Tied it up. We got three matches left. We'll see who's able to take it out or take the rest of the games.
Here we have an interesting matchup that we don't actually get to see a lot. We actually have the Galacti deck versus a Shine Greymon deck, both getting a strong amount of support in BT21. Uh, Notably for especially for Shine, that Rise Greymon becoming almost like a Blitz Omni for the deck feels extremely powerful. Looking at the hand from Hoang Zero here, he has a pretty strong opening up the Zenith with the Vemmon. I'm a little bit shocked that he decided to play the Zenith first instead of trying to establish one of the three cost Vemmons from BT11 on board. See if you can get extra value from that. Shine player opting for Uko, also not a card that we see very often from Shine. They normally kill you within like a stack or two. Uh, and their stacks are pretty fragile without much protection. Not a lot of people running the Gray X to prevent any of the current meta threats from just absolutely just obliterating your stack.
Yeah, but interesting. I do kind of like the Uka inclusion because one of the big things we see complained about with China is the consistency issue. And the Uko does get you some extra pieces, which is pretty nice. But yeah, like you said, I mean, you're able to push so much damage off one stack now with the new Rise that the chip from Uko almost isn't even like that necessary most of the time. We see here evolving and raising for the Shine player. Um, kind of see what their hand. Oh, but we see five cost Marcus Land, which is pretty expensive here, giving a lot of memory over to Huang Zero.
Yeah,
I'll see
that
what he's able to do with it.
Zenith also guaranteeing an extra memory and cycle. I'm surprised on how he played that turn. I'm not even sure what his hand is, so I can't really comment on what I would do in that play, but I would get a little bit greedy with the Agu and try to play forward, knowing that he can't really do a lot to threaten me off very few memory. So we one notable thing about the Galactic deck is that all your level fours, evil for three, your cards are generally higher costed, but they're supplemented by the reduced cost of all the Vemmon inherits. So here we have a
And we
three.
see here the Promo Destro, what I personally think is the strongest card in the Galacti deck, which is just essentially Hades Force on legs. Um, I believe it pops four costs to start, and then pops an extra or pops four costs worth of Digimon and Tamers, and then for extra every Vemmon in your source, you pop an extra one. So he's able to remove Tamers really easily. We see him optimizing the memory counts because all the Venmons reduce Evo cost. Yeah, you can slam the Venmon to get an extra search and then go into the Permodestro here and yeah, killing off that Marcus. Does he here promoting the Geo Gray pretty quickly. I'm actually surprised he went for the promote here because yeah, his board is not looking super great here, but obviously we can't see his hand, so we don't know what he's thinking about. But Huang here, kind of in a
Interesting.
dominant position, we see, yeah, just swinging over the Vem and ending on the Marcus that lets you evo for free. So pretty slow turn there as well.
The
Um,
Shine player
we'll
might be
see.
really bricked. He opted to throw away his stack, takes 2 turns to recover. If I was in his position, I'd be terrified, even though he bot decked 1 Ragnarok cannon. That the potential for lethal is so immense here, where he could just evo the or swing over, then evo to the Galacti and try to play the Ragnarok cannon. He does have 4 cards in trash to facilitate that. Let's see what Huang opts
Yeah,
for here.
yeah, if Huang had the Ragnar cannon here, he'd be in a really good spot. Unfortunately, just missing that. So it looks like we might be going for some extra dig, yeah, with the Snatchmon here. Um, Deciding what to play. Not a lot of really great searches here, and just a bunch of Vemons and trash. Let's see what he decides to pick up. Goes for the Fusion Eyes. I mean, which is a very strong card. Gives you an extra Vemon. It's a free option that gives you an extra Vemon and lets you evolve from trash. So it gives you some recycling potential here.
Yeah, that
But we'll see what
Marcus
Shane is.
or that Marcus is basically dead since he threw away his stack, and you have to have an Agumon or Greymon in name to even make the Marcus become a Digimon.
Yeah, we see training here revealing Scramble and Marcus, but didn't evolve a rookie. Offset grabbed the Scramble. Okay, but he does have the rookie. It was just maybe looking for a potentially different rookie to evolve. Yeah, just plays the search. We have another training here. We have the scramble. Yeah, opposite take a scramble, just scramble choke to one. Which I mean, he will be able to get a free resource next turn. We see the Ragnarok cannon off the top for Huang here, so he can set up that line. Yeah, but yeah, just even Galacti, he has enough Vemon and text cards and trash to play the Ragnarok cannon for free. But because of how delay works, he can't, uh, you know, swing and burn all his security just yet. He has to wait an extra turn. So we see here what he opts for. If he had a promo Destro here, that would be quite strong, but I guess he wouldn't have any Vemons in source to remove. So kind of weird hand for Huang here, actually. So is he passing over to Shine?
Opted to play the
And he gets
Scramble
to go for
last
the
turn, knowing that he probably doesn't have a Geogray in hand. Uh, Otherwise, he would have probably evoed it in the back for the same memory cost. But this is a really dire position for the Shine player. He has to somehow clear this Galactimon and keep bodies on board to prevent this Ragnarok cannon from burning him down to 1 security. And even then,
yeah.
Galacti is a pretty good deck at recovering. That cross Snatchmon in the back, you can potentially just hard play it for 2 costs if you have enough Vemons, even if they did wipe the Galacti stack.
Yeah, but also interestingly enough, is if the Shine player is able to add this Galacti, Huang's hand is pretty bad actually. So could open up or it could really slow him down if he's able to remove this Galacti here. Which, Shine is one of the decks that might be able to do it because even though Galacti has so much protection on its own, it is actually not immune to DP minus. So if he's able to stack enough DP minus, we might be able to see some removal here. We see the new shot or the new rise coming down,
To the
which gives turn the Marcus into a Digimon. It gives it Alliance and May attack.
and Rush.
Decides to and Rush. Yeah, so many keywords on that card. See, actually, the Rise X here comboing with the Memory Setter Marcus. So that's an -4 from the Rise and another -3 from this Marcus here.
You also have the 2000 from the BT12 Geogreymon. We're slow,
BT12 line.
we're slowly seeing this Galacti dwindle in DP.
Yeah. Yeah, we see at 6K DP exactly, which with the BT12 Shine here and 2 Tamers is actually exactly enough to remove this Galacti from the board, which is actually a huge play. Considering at the start of this turn, Shine was looking like it was in a pretty doomed position. but is actually able to remove the Galactimon. Huang decides to, not bother protecting because his stack is dying anyway to how DP minus works.
Yeah, and he'd lose all of
And we
his
see here,
Devmon sources if he did, because everything
yeah,
does play from trash, or grab the sources from trash. I I wonder if this situation was a little bit preventable by playing the Zenith and like if he was making the hard read that the Shine player was bricked last turn. I would probably just play the Zenith and just say you don't have it. But in case he does, he would still have that cross Snatchmon in hand to make a decent recovery play. But I wonder if he's even
I
just gonna
see.
get OTK'd here.
Yeah, it looks like it because the alliance with the Agumon playing off the scramble, which can't swing anyway, it gives him an extra check. And
Burn
with the
one, check
burst
one.
node here, yeah, burn one, check one. Uh, Galacti actually Ragnar Cannon is not a security bomb. I believe it just plays something. So nothing really threatening the Shine player here. And yeah, just what looked to be a really doomed game from the start is they would actually turn around and finish the game off with in one turn with a full OTK, which is actually something that Shine used or was able to do, but very consistently. But that, I mean, starting from one tamer and being able to OTK from there is pretty crazy, which is big help from the BT21 Rise giving the alliance there for that extra check.
Yeah, Shine was one of the premier OTK decks back way when, but a lot of the decks did end up catching up to it. But this new alliance, Rise Greymon, giving the Marcus Rush and Alliance is pretty ridiculous for the deck. It allows the deck to actually keep up with the more modern decks and maybe even inch ahead in terms of speed. Like we saw right there that he maybe didn't even need to clear the Galacti because I don't even remember what the Galacti's or the Destro's inherit was. Just switching the attack target. So I guess
I
he
believe would have been
oh
uh,
he did need to clear
or
it.
stopping the attack completely. So I think if the Galactic was removed there, Juan would at least be able to live for a turn. But removing the Galactic makes it so, he's guaranteed the kill. But even if he weren't able to get the kill, at the very least, Ragnar Cannon likely isn't resolving on the next turn. So buys a lot of time for the Shine player there.
Yeah, that was a ridiculous OTK. It looked like Huang was in a commanding position. But we have two more matches. The Unkers are currently up 2-1 on North America. So let's see where we go next. So here we have an interesting matchup. We have a brand new deck in the Megidramon where it aims to try to kill itself over and over versus Hunters, a deck that came back from the dead. We haven't seen this deck in a while. It had very strong performance in BT12, and I believe it came back a little bit in BT15 through some very dedicated players, but we haven't really seen it in almost a year at this point. So we have the
Yeah,
Hunters player going first, and it looks like a very strong hand also from the Megidra player, having almost the full line, plus a training in case he does need to try to pass turn. Opening up a boost as well. He has the full almost new line. Let's see if he can get to the Megidra. Very high chance of that.
yeah, pretty much exactly what you want to see in the opening hand. Is a bunch of boosts, and on the other side, well, opposite play the purple memory boost to choke to one. Which makes sense because you look at the other side of the board. Hunter has evolved King Shot and Raising, which is pretty terrible. It means they didn't open a Tamer, and also so it basically just slows them down because they don't get the free play Tamer off of the King Shout, but also they just don't start their turn with a Tamer. So we'll see what Hunter's able to do here, but a pretty bad opening hand from them so far. We'll see. Just yeah, goes for the swing to draw a card and checks Digimon at design, which steals a memory for some reason in security.
And plays itself in the
So
battle area. So it's like a 3 net memory gain.
yeah, pretty crazy card. We've seen the new Superior mode, which is probably maybe the second best card for Hunters behind the new Tagiru, but a very good card here. Lets him attack on Evo without suspending, so he gets an extra swing in, and he's at a big 13K. We see Megidra here just missing the Megidra itself, which if he's able to hit it here, would be really strong. But with training an analog, he could also just stay in the back and opt to wait a turn and just keep digging for that Megidra.
I wonder if you even opt to
Um,
trade into the Superior stack if you don't see the Megidra, because like if they don't have any Tamers, this Arrestor Dramon doesn't actually have save. The level 5s don't. Um, I wonder if he's trying to like
Yeah,
willing to try to save the momentum here. Maybe go into like analog into let's see. He decides to like, go to for the level 4. He can't keep turn if he
and
analogs, but he did find the McGee right here.
yeah, Wrestle McGee off the top, which is actually really insane here. We're seeing what is this, turn two? Yeah, turn two Megidra.
Hit for 3 minimum.
Um, yeah, hitting for two checks and a burn. Uh, with the War Growl, it is going to cost the full four, but he does have two memory gain inherits, so he will actually essentially only pay two memory. And I mean, the Hunter's player's board is completely empty unless he hits like two Tamers in here. It's going to be a really, really rough time for the Hunter's player to come back from this. We see the Evil for four, two checks, checking Arrestor Dramon and Arrestor Dramon. So no Tamers for the Hunter's player. We see all these effects coming out after the McGee Dramon dies.
We're seeing all these
Yeah, we
Digimon
got
come out
two
of
memory
security.
gain.
I wonder what's in his hand if he didn't opt to play a Tamer turn 1 or turn 2. This seems like a really
Yeah,
unfortunate game. Like, if I was in his position, I'd just assume a lot of my Tamers were in security, but even through those 3 checks, even if one of them was a burn, nothing was actually a Tamer.
yeah, it is very unfortunate there. Um, yeah, I mean, I imagine his hand has to be just all Digimon then. We see, yeah, Digimon design going off, setting up for another War Growl, um, which now with, what is that, 14 in trash for the Megidra player and 7 in trash for the Hunters player, or I guess 13 and 7 is exactly 20. So it's a two cost Evo, and then gaining one off of the Growlmon Inherit means if the Huntress player isn't able to do anything about this War Growl, then he is just going to be swinging for game on the next turn, which would be pretty crazy to see just a turn three lethal here for the Megidra player. Um, kind of just opening the nuts and then hitting that or having that Digimon designed in security uh, was really, really strong here. We see the Damemon coming out from the Huntress player. I mean, if he has no Tamers in hand, then ideally he'd be able to hit one off of this Damemon here. Actually, it checks two Tamers, or reveals two Tamers, so he gets to pick one and play it out. But with no blocker inherit under this Damemon, since he took the superior mode, he I think is just dead on this next turn, which is crazy to say. But yeah, actually kind of insane. We'll see if there's anything in security that might save the Huntress player, but it's looking pretty pretty doomed from here. But yeah, I mean, we see Moment just thinking through his lines, evolving, making sure he's not randomly misplaying.
Maybe
When
drawing
you're this
into,
close to winning,
yeah, maybe he was looking for the extra promo gallon or like the BT13 gallon just in case things went sour somehow. But
yeah,
we
he's
have
looking
to see the
for
power of like the promo Gigimon egg being able to recur any of the pieces that he just milled. He only really did see the one Megidramon, but he opted to mill two. But with the power of like that promo like Gigimon egg, he doesn't even need to worry about drawing the second one.
yeah, especially after milling two of the Megidras off of his mills, being able to pick one up is really good because he might have not been able to see another Megidra for like the rest of the game. Um, But yeah, we'll see here. Gain one memory. Does he have a rush heal in
I
trash?
believe he does.
Yeah, he does have the rush heal. So yeah, that is just game on turn three of the game, showing the power of how much damage Megidra is able to pump. Two checks, burn one, and then floating into these rush heals, needing basically no setup to get there.
I'm not even
Is a
sure what the
pretty
Hunter's player could have done there to prevent that. The Megidra player can play pretty independently of the opponent if they don't have like any aces. Like they're okay with
yeah. I
swinging to like
think
your blockers because they're just gonna get their on deletions anyways.
yeah, it is pretty unfortunate there for the Hunters player. Just had nothing in hand to work with, and yeah, McGee's able to just pump out so much damage. Couldn't really do anything. No tamers in security, so just got just got killed insanely quick. But now that puts us up to what, 2-2?
Yeah, 2 and 2. So we have the
So
final match deciding on who wins the Unkers versus NA. here we actually have a different POV. Normally we're just watching from the view of all the NA players, but here we have the view of the adventure player, the Rusted from the Unkers. Opening up a not so bad hand, having the Biomon, a rookie, and a black option. A lot of potential
They're
ways to cycle.
yeah, and they're up against the Doragora, which opens Ugo. So yeah, just some extra dig. See here, a lot of cards drawn. No tamers yet, though, for the adventure player, which is kind of scary considering they're playing into a deck that has tamer removal. So not seeing a lot of your tamers quickly might lead to just getting out resourced by that tamer removal. I see
Yeah,
promoting the Uko here.
interesting enough, running two of the promo War Greymon. I don't really see that as high of a count compared to like the ST Greymon or the ST Metal Garurumon.
It is interesting to see kind of what their build looks like if they're playing the Warp Agumon with like Angelomon, or what else they might be running. But yeah, agree that the promo Warg isn't seen very often, so I'm kind of interested to see what they've got here. And we do see the Angelomon here as well. Um, Decides to not promote and actually just evolving up and raising.
Would have seen the tie.
Did Yeah, would have seen the tie, so could have promoted and greeted there. I'm interested to see why, or interesting to see that he went for that instead of maybe swinging the BO, hoping it dies, and then slamming the BO to dig as well. Um, but yeah, we see, Doragor promoting again, another Uko search, and we've got the Doru here. No start of main to like a Kosuke under. So we'll see what they've got here, but it doesn't look like um, adventure player is going to be able to interact with the board too much. So this Uko is just going to be getting a lot of value this game. I go for a training, grabbing a boost instead of the Burgray.
And this tie is just
Uh,
not enough for even the Lilymon to try to bot deck anything. It needs at least two colors to try to remove anything on the board.
yeah, it's one of the weaknesses of opening just tie early is it's not even two colors, so you don't even get to activate your level fives. So yeah, very slow start from adventure here. We see another Uko dig. We got three rookies on the board for Doragora.
Potential free
No
Marvin here.
Kosuke, but we see the Airdramon, uh, which tucks the Marvin under. So you see, yeah, seeing black base Dorugora because we wanted to promote using the new cards, and obviously the new promo Dorugora only works with Kosuke in source, so you kind of have to play the black base. And we see, the Airdramon and the Marvin as, like Sons of Chaos cards that you can play in the deck that have some synergy as well.
Yeah,
So you see the Airdramon here. Oh,
a little bit unfortunate that the adventure player is breaking a lot on the tamers. Like if I open that hand, I see a BO, I see a Courage of the United or our Courage United, whatever that card's called. I think I'd have enough dig, but he actually opted to Evo the BO in the back without even trying to promote it and try to swing and maybe try to get that cycle. Um, I know a lot of the adventure players that we've played against have opted to try to always mull hands until they find at least like Tamer Rookie. Like that's one of the golden rules of the deck is Tamer Rookie because if you have one of the Tamers that aren't specifically tie, all of your level fives are suddenly online.
and we see here the Doragora coming out as since he has the Marvin and source from the Airdramon Evo, he's able to pop the only tamer that Adventure had in play. So now basically back to square one. Just like absolutely nothing to work with here in this hand. Just a bunch of Digimon, but the Digimon don't have any effects, or basically just all vanillas until you draw a tamer. So we'll see what they're able to do. Skullgray here is not bad. Raid Retail is quite good. And if uh the Doru player decides to remove the Skullgray, he can actually float back into the tie, which at least gives him a tamer to work with. But still looking like a pretty bad spot to be in for the adventure player right now. The Doru play is just completely in the driver's seat. Um, we'll see what he decides to do here. I mean, he's got 11 cards in hand and just like a very well-established board. And yeah, the adventure's just got nothing to work with here.
He can't even really threaten
Seeing the
retail that much. I guess he can with like collision, but I'm not even sure what you're supposed to do in this position. You look like you're just so behind in momentum. He's gonna be able to climb into like a second stack, potentially just popping you, and he won't even care about your tamer.
Yeah, it's just such a dominant position. Yeah, he's able to set up two stacks this turn, and with Adventure having no tamers in play, I mean it's like very difficult to come back from, especially because with the new promo Doru, the deck doesn't even have to like really chip early at all. The Doragora can get you so many extra swings now that you don't have to risk checking their security and randomly checking a tamer that could put Adventure back into the game. Because all they have to do is just sit here and wait until they find their promo Doragora and go for lethal. So Adventure here is basically just working with whatever they draw off the top. Yeah, going for just setting up a second stack here on this rookie going up to the Dex Doru. Um, and it does also have the taunt, so he can opt to just like not remove the Skullgray and just like taunt and block. And then even with the on deletion, he can choke the adventure player to one so they can float into a tie, but with one memory, they're really not doing much
Have we
here.
seen
Those
the Dex Doragora yet? It'd be really interesting if he pitched a Dex Doragora swing collision. He could actually protect himself from the retail with that Dex. I'm not even sure if that's the best play at this point, or if you're just okay with leaving this Skull Greymon up. Um, the only, you're not really worried about any of the ace plays. It would pop the Wargrey here would pop your lowest. Whereas if I'm looking from the Dorgor perspective, you might get your Uko bound or bot decked, but that's not even like the worst scenario. But that's just for free sitting memory for you.
Yeah, I mean the Ugo's already done his job. He's triggered the Ugo three times already. Looks like he's got pretty much everything he wants. Two scrambles, two trainings on the board.
But
Like he's got pretty much everything here.
yeah, and the Skullgray I believe might be taunted. I believe
Yeah, I
so.
believe he did Evo into the Doragora with the Kosuke in Source. So I believe this yeah, Skullgray sort of main attack. We will probably see the Dorgray block into Evo Doragora for free, thanks to the Dorgray effect,
Yeah, so there's
which will be
even
very
no
good,
reason to
especially
swing
now
last
that
turn.
they lost Retaliation. Yeah, we see the black option here, but unfortunately, black option doesn't really do very much when you don't have any color tamers. Like here, if he had the Lilymon, that would be great to bot deck the Doragora, but it's listed the Angelmon just to, have something on the board as he can float. Decides to actually float into the Kabu. Um, oh yeah, because he can actually, yeah, he could do a cool play here of going, float into Kabu, and then Angelmon can evolve the Kabu into something else. Um, so choosing to give something Alliance, and then yeah, you can Digivolve for free, so you can go back into the Skullgray. But I mean, no Rush Tamer means, you're still struggling to really do much of anything here. Um, I see another Skullgray here, that is a very cool combo. One of the great things about Adventure is you have all these like different combos you can do with all these different cards, but unfortunately not able to show the full potential of the deck in his game because I mean he just wasn't able to draw any tamers, and any tamers that he did get set up, we saw Doragoro just remove them consistently.
Yeah, typically Adventure runs over at least 10 Tamers. Almost 29 cards left in deck. Hasn't seen a single one in his hand outside of that tie. It's a little bit unfortunate. Just most of his hand is unable to operate without having any sort of like dual Tamer on board.
Yeah, that is one of the weaknesses of the Adventure deck. It is very tamer reliant, so if you don't draw them or if your opponent's able to remove them, then the hand becomes pretty slow. We see a tamer off the top, off of the draw from Our Courage United. But it might just be a little too late. Chokes to one, but with the end of turn untuck of the Kosuke, Joey does get the memory tamer up. So choking to one doesn't really matter here. And I mean, we see what is it? It's going to be five bodies on the board. Um,
With double training.
Ace, yeah, double training. Ace isn't too big of a threat because there's no tamers on the board yet. And like with collision, we might be able to remove most of the bodies.
This
So we'll
Uko,
see what he's got. I mean,
like this Uko's been here since the beginning of the game. Joey's already like out of eggs. He's promoted as
yeah,
much
he's
as he
out of
could.
eggs. He's got 12 cards in deck. I mean, he's probably seen like his entire deck by now, so he knows exactly what resources he has available. See Marvin discarding the decks to go to 4, and I'm interested to see what the lethal line is here for the Dorgora. I'd imagine it involves the promo Dorgora, but we'll see what line he goes for here. But I'm sure there's plenty of lines here. I mean, he's got so many resources available. He should be able to find some way through. Although maybe, if he checks too many tamers, it might be a problem in security because then, these Melga aces that we've got sitting in the hand for the adventure player could become real threats. If you were to check two tamers of different colors, or like two tamers with four completely different colors, but we see the ruin mode here.
Yeah, very interesting card.
Uh,
I don't think we see that a lot in the Dex Dorgoromon, in the Dorgoromon deck itself. I'm not even sure
yeah, we
if
see.
acing here is correct. You're just gonna let him get gain 4 memory off that with the end of attack, because you can't bounce it. You only can bounce like the level 4 lowers here.
Yeah, we see. I mean, goes for the Moga. Yeah, at least he gets to get rid of one body. Maybe just, trying to hold out to survive. But I mean, yeah, we see the minus 10K here and deleting the Melga for an extra 4 memory. Um, so even if he loses out on one swing, I mean, Adventure can't really function on a minus 10 memory or minus 10K. You can't play your fours or your fives, which are your main power cards. So the Ruin mode kind of just completely shutting down the Adventure deck for a turn. Uh, we'll see. Might maybe won't push for game here. I'm not sure if he has the resources for that right here.
Might just go into another BT17 Dorogoromon just to try to just kill that tamer in any hope of him trying to recover. Or even trying
Yeah,
to hold
one of
it.
the nice things with the door.
Or you could try to
Sorry,
swing
what
out the
was I
Uko
saying?
here. Maybe you can like chip 1 damage. If you see a tamer, you can just go ahead on demand pop it. Like there's not a lot that he can
Yeah,
really
that
do under
too.
10,000 if you're that worried about it either.
Yeah, I think Dorgora, a nice like slow control deck, able to really control the pace of the game. So it's really up to him. If he wants to try and remove try and maybe push for game or just just basically just stall out for another turn. Do that. The rune mode saves a lot here. Goes for a swing, checks an Angelmon, somehow not a tamer. Oh, goes for the Uko swing. Again, not a tamer. Yeah, I don't know where the tamers are for the adventure deck here. But we see the Dorgora unsuspending thanks to the Ukamon dying here. And then we see another check. We have the Doruga, which can swing for one more. Finally a tamer at the very last check. Might be a little too late. Does he have a way to get the extra swing? He does have the Mercurymon
Or the
to
Mercurymon Beast Form. I don't
Evo.
remember the name of that card. I know it was played in Mother
Oh,
Showdown, but
Sephirothmon.
yeah,
Yeah, Sephiroth.
very
So it gets
interesting
the extra
card.
swing off the hybrid. It's actually funny. Dorgora player mentioned after the game that all of his promo Dorgoras were in security. So had to find a different way to secure lethal there. But we got to see the hybrid for game, which we haven't seen in a long time. Yeah, a little unfortunate game for Adventure there. Not really drawing any tamers, and any tamers that did get set up like the tie were just immediately removed. So he couldn't really display the full strength of the Adventure deck there. Um,
But the North American team
but the
here takes it 3-2.
Yeah, 3-2, very very interesting matches. Some of them were slow drawn out matches like the Moxley versus the Red Hybrid. Some were Megidra versus Hunters that was over by like turn three.
A 3 minute
I got to
banger.
show a lot of the Yeah, I got to see a lot of variety in the decks played and how they play and kind of what the new BT21 decks have in store. Obviously, there's a lot of old decks in BT21 that are still very strong, but at the very least, you got to see some of what the new decks are able to do, which was pretty interesting to see. I don't know what your favorite match out of these five were for you, Weenie.
Oh, I love the Magidra one. Just absolutely just
Yeah.
go in, go face, and don't look back. But I
Yeah,
thought
I guess that's a pretty fair fair view.
On a
And yeah,
serious
that engaged
note,
game was kind of insane to watch. Just the turn three kill. People talk about it all the time, but actually seeing a turn three kill is, very surprising.
on a more serious note, I actually really enjoyed the Galacti versus Shine game. It was just a very unexpected lethal from minimal resources. Really, we got to see the power of like how powerful that BT21 Rise Gray was. Like even though they weren't playing a lot of the new cards, just how impactful that one level 5 can be for the deck.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely like the Gaia the Gaiamon versus Gaiomon uh game, even though there was the misplay of the medieval gallant, even through that, they were able to recover pretty well. And it was a very close game, like winning off of the extra check off fire rocket for lethal with having that extra memory thanks to the promo delta. It was pretty fun to watch, especially with how I think those are probably the two most unique decks we saw. Gaiamon, I don't know if a lot of people are playing it, but it's a very different strategy from what we've seen before. And Atmon is just a completely new deck, but also a very interesting take on the new deck with like the promo delta, the new superior mode, and the fire rockets.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are actually very used to like a red based Gaiomon deck. Whereas, like, okay, maybe you can go in, get some DP, and chip at least one damage, taunt, and try to redirect. This is going for like a lot more of a control-y style, and where you're never gonna risk hitting anything important in security. Like if you're playing against Adventure, you'd never risk hitting their tamers for them. You just start burning them all and start like forcing them to try to choke you back.
Yeah, it is a very different style of play. You don't have to swing; you just burn all their security with all the Gaiamon burns and stuff. We didn't get to see it, but also the mem gain inherits can lead to some funny like turn skip scenarios. If you're able to choke them to one and then taunt them, gain back two, and then immediately just keep your or take your turn back, which is pretty cool. But yeah, overall, just a lot of really interesting stuff to see in BT21, and seeing NA take it over the Unkers was pretty cool too. Obviously, we're both from NA, so maybe a little bit of bias there, but it was pretty cool to see all the unique decks and all the unique takes on the decks because of how versatile a lot of them are to build.
Me
So
personally,
it's pretty
I'm not a
interesting
big
to watch
fan.
all those players. Oh, you know what? Me too. I mean, yeah, I was honestly cheering for the Unkers. Unfortunate to see the last game was a brick for the adventure player, but overall still a lot of fun games to watch. Was a good time to see, all these top players from both these regions, try out these new decks first time. Was pretty interesting to watch all of them go at it. So
Yeah, we highly encourage you guys to try to go check out the Unker socials. They do a lot of good for the community, especially with the merge format now. I think joining the JP side with the NA side, or even like or any of the English speaking sides like OCE, European, Latin America, is extremely important for us to try to like grow and develop this game. They do a ton by writing articles. They post a ton of unique and interesting deck lists available for everyone. Their socials should be in the description below, so please check them out.
yeah, they do a lot for the community, obviously. On our side or on the NA side, obviously, we're on Hoang's channel here. Moment, or also Donkey Nog does a lot of ruling videos and also some other content from time to time. And the other three are just, three top players from NA who, came out to build new BT21 decks and try to show them off for the community.
Alright, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the matches. Thank you for watching.